It's a beautiful day to you, our lovely and smart real estate investors, wherever you're watching us across the world. I'm super delighted to welcome you to another exciting, informative, and of course, educative section of Property Matters here on YouTube. In case you're seeing a video like this for the first time, my name is Adijare. I'm your host here on Property Matters. Property Matter is a YouTube real estate talk show where we expose you to all the rudiments and fundamental information that guides and regulates the Lagos State real estate market. So, in case you're coming across a video like this for the first time, we want you to keep seeing us over and over again so that you can get more valuable information on how the Lagos State real estate market is being regulated. So do well to subscribe, turn on the notification bell so that when I drop a video, a very important personality like you will be one of our important VIPs that will be privileged and of course to get to see our video. Do well to subscribe, turn on the notification bell, advise your friends, families, relatives, and loved ones to do the same. By doing this, we will be able to reach millions of Nigerians across the world, and of course, we will help them to give them the valuable information as far as the Lagos State real estate market is concerned. Thank you very much, and I'll be back immediately after this short commercial. Don't go nowhere, stay tuned.
Many people go into real estate investment for different reasons. And one of the reasons why people miss it is because of the fact that they have realtors who cannot analyze and give an objective locations and of course analysis on where rental value is more profitable. In Gaba, you can lease and of course rent your apartment, one bedroom for 1.5, two bedroom for 2.5, three bedroom for 3.5. In fact, studio apartment is being rented between 700 to 800,000 annually. Why is this? Yaba has over 9 tertiary institutions, including the University of Lagos. And the truth of the matter is that these tertiary institutions still find it extremely difficult to provide adequate accommodation to their students. Yaba is a home to banks. Yaba is home to the main market. Yaba is home to other tech hub and major industries. And why people prioritize Yaba is that Yaba shows close proximity to Lekki Phase 1, VI and Ikota less than 10 minutes, to the international airport less than 25 minutes, to Ikeja, Oshodi, Surulere and other parts. You see, the reason why many people prioritize Yaba is that you can stay in Yaba and have access to beautiful projects, and of course, electricity in Yaba is very constant compared to other regions. So as a real estate investor, if getting cash flow is the sole aim of investment, then doing that, Yaba should be a top, number one priority over other locations. So we have apartments that is available on off-plan. We also have apartments that are already completed. The only advantage is that the off-plan gives you the opportunity to spread your payments for 1 year, and of course, your apartment will be completed in less than 12 months. Mark my word, in less than 12 months. So explore the beautiful aspect. Don't just put all your properties on the island. Diversify, and Java is a very good location. In case you're looking forward to get the best out of the Java real estate market, and give me a call, and of course we will give you the best real estate that is safe for you.
All right, you're welcome back. I want to say a very big thank you to everybody that has been following us on Property Matters. I appreciate everything. We appreciate your comment. We appreciate your inquiries. We appreciate all the beautiful comments and of course inspiring opinions that you have been giving on this show. Of course, I also want to apologize for not being online for a while. Two of our recording devices had issues, all from nowhere. Those issues just came up, and in the process of trying to rectify them, one got spoiled and, of course, it's beyond repair, and the other one is not functioning the way we have to. And that's why we had to go, hire some other recording devices so that we can, stay online, keep you people updated, so that our absence will not, make you people make terrible relationship investment decisions. So we're back, and of course, I'm very delighted to be back. Okay, so let's go to today's topic. And of course, today's topic is actually in relation to the recent developments in Ikota, Lekki, Lagos. And today we're going to be talking about the Ikota demolitions. And today we're going to be explaining some of the procedures that will ensure that your buildings, your property here in the beautiful city of Lagos, Nigeria, will not, doesn't get demolished by any agencies of the government. So we're going to be talking about procedures that will enable your properties not to get demolished. So this is a very, very important topic. We've done this topic before, but our recording devices got spoiled, so we could only access. So we had to record all that. This shows how important you are to us. So in case you want to do any form of real estate investment in the beautiful city of Lagos, Nigeria, off land, commercial properties, any form of real estate investment, of course, we are the go-to plug. So we will help you get the best. So today, let's talk about the procedures that must be adequately adhered to whenever you want to build. And of course, these procedures will ensure that your property doesn't get demolished regardless of what is happening. And in the previous episode, I've been emphasizing on some basic things that you as a real estate investors must put into consideration. And one of the things I said basically was that I emphasized on the fact that the Lagos State real estate market is not regulated. So the way the market functions basically is that every real estate developer or every real estate practitioner at the liberty of doing things the way they like. So, and there have been cases of people selling what they ought not to sell, people losing their money because of that. And of course, I think I've mentioned in one of my videos that nobody or no real estate developer that I know of that has been, prosecuted and of course made to face the full wrath of the law. So let's talk about the procedures. Now, in one of the things, looking at the Ikota demolitions that happened a few weeks ago, of course, a whole lot of people have given, they've lent their voices and they've given their honest opinion. And I appreciate the fact that other real estate practitioners also came online. But today, we did an extensive research and we interacted with other important government parastatals, and of course they shared some of the important information that we will be exposing to you, our real estate developer. Now, what are those things you need to do? Now, despite the fact that the industry is not regulated, despite the fact that various actors and of course people that are in the real estate industry do things the way they like, presently the regulations that we have there in this industry are not as strict as it ought to. But nevertheless, regardless of the fact that the industry is not properly regulated, there are still some important things that you can, of course, put into consideration. And of course, when you apply some of the things that we are going to be explaining today, you'll be able to make good and, of course, informed real estate decision. Now, when you're buying a property, whether in Lekki or any part of Lagos, you need to understand that there are various ministries, okay, that regulate real estate activities here in the beautiful city of Lagos, Nigeria. So I need to emphasize that. Now, the first ministry is the Ministry of Lands, okay? And of course, in my previous video, I explained the function of the Ministry of Lands. So of course, you can do also subscribe, but I'll just quickly give a brief summary. So the Ministry of Lands basically are the places where you can confirm the title, that you can confirm if there are litigations on such properties. Then you can also confirm, okay, if there are any form of maybe someone has used that same property to obtain loan from the bank. Okay, so the job of the Ministry of Land is to provide available records concerning that property so that you will be well informed. The next ministry that we're going to be talking about is the Ministry of Town Planning. Now, what they do at town planning basically is that, in my previous video, I said that for every places in Lagos, there is a master plan, okay? I've said it regardless of the fact that it's ibeju, Lekki, the mainland, all parts of Lagos has a master plan. Now, it is in this master plan, okay, that you get to know the projects that are coming to that axis, the intention of government for that axis. Then, of course, also in the master plan will open your eyes to see where there are drainages, where there are maybe future road constructions, where there'll be rail lines, where there'll be future bridges, okay? So after you've done your search, okay, at the Ministry of Lands, you are supposed to proceed, okay, to the Ministry of Town Planning, okay, so that they can give you an extensive, okay, plan of that region. So they will also, be in the best position, okay, to advise you. Then the next ministry that you should also check, okay, is the Ministry of Environment. Of course, the recent Lekki demolitions that happened was carried out by the Ministry of Environment. Of course, those are the people that enforce some environmental laws like drainages, rail lines, and the like. So you also want to do a thorough search, okay, from the Ministry of Environment. Then the next one is the Surveyor General Office. Now, the Surveyor General Office is like a sum total of all these ministries, but because of the fact that the Lagos State Master Plan is always updated. There have been times whereby some places might be free and government will think of, okay, how can we solve the problem of traffic? How can we put a whole lot of things in place? So what they do basically at the Surveyor General Office is that when they include new project, maybe a rail line that will come into that axis, maybe they might decide to extend, changing facilities to this region. Of course, you get to get that information because there have been times whereby, okay, people have gone to the town planning, the environment, and such, project might not be updated on their record. So you want to do those for search. And one other thing real estate investors must understand basically is that after you have done those search, okay, it is also important that you also work with a professional land surveyors. Okay, we have, like, in our team we have three different land surveyors. We have one that is permanently stationed at the Ministry of Lands, okay? Then we have others that help us on the field, okay? So these are some of the things. Now, when you want to buy a property, it is very important that you go understand this master plan, because you see there are several places that a real estate investor is not, allowed to buy properties. And the way the Lagos State geography is, or the way the Lagos State industry is situated or is structured, basically is that in most cases it is very hard, okay, for you to tell where there will be drainages, where there will be maybe rail projects, bridges, and the likes. Okay, so that is why it is very essential that you do a cross checking of that property before you buy. And another thing basically that I need real estate investors to understand basically is that now government agencies most times don't go on patrol on a regular basis. So in situations whereby some ignorant real estate developers may be building where they ought not to, in most cases the informations don't get to the required government parastatals on time. Okay, a lot of people have expressed their concern, and of course I also did that too. But in my interaction with a lot of major top government officials in Lagos State, the man explained that it is impossible, okay, for them to constantly go on patrol to know places where illegal structures are being erected. So in most cases it is always difficult for them to know, and that is why most times government always seek, okay, the participation of the residents in those places. In most cases, where people are building to obstruct drainages, building a place where there will be a road expansion, the government expects citizens and residents of that area to make a public announcement so that they can be aware and they can put a whole lot of things into place so that things will not cause environmental hazard. Now, if you want to secure, if a real estate developer wants to secure a building plan, now one of the reasons why that Lekki property, that Ikota Lekki property was demolished was not due to the fact that, not just due to the fact only that it was obstructing its drainage, it was very close to the drainage. Now, some structures were pulled down, okay, due to the fact that they did not have required building approval. Okay, now someone asked a question few weeks ago that is it possible for real estate developers to erect buildings, to build structures, and they don't have the required approval? Yes, it is. Now, the reason basically is due to the fact that the procedures that we outlined today, okay, will give a further clarifications on the reason why, okay, some real estate developers don't seek the necessary and the required approvals before building. Okay, you are going to understand this as I go further. So now, when government want to give a developer an approval, despite the fact that you have submitted your property documents, it's your survey is expected to be registered. Of course, let me also state the fact that the moment a property is under any form of acquisitions, of course, such properties, in fact, the developer or the owner of such property is not even expected to approach government or do anything on the land. So the fact still remains that your property has to be free from every form of encumbrance and, of course, must have a recognized title. So apart from the fact that you submit your survey, you submit your architectural drawings, you submit your soil test, you submit your tax clearance, you submit the deed, you submit all those. Of course, I have a video where I explain the requirement and, of course, process of getting the building approval. I think there's a video, so at the end of this I think I'll be sharing the link so that you can check and you can understand what building approval is. Now, before an approval mostly are given, government always ensure that they interact with these four ministries. The first one is the Ministry of Lands to confirm the title. The second is the Ministry of Town Planning to understand if the project is in the right place in the master plan. Of course, they check environment to ensure that the person is not building close to drainage, and of course they also check the subject general. So that means that before an approval must be given, okay, your approval or your building structures pass through these four process of scrutiny. They scrutinize to ensure that, okay, your project is not having any form of obstruction before an approval is given. So that means that sometimes, in most cases, governments do their thorough vetting before an approval is given. So as a real estate investor, the very first thing you want to ask is, does this particular developer has an approval? It doesn't matter how reputable the developer is. If the developer does not have an approval and is selling the property, just know that such developer is contravening the law. And in most cases, it may also attract the wrath of the government. So you want to ask that question: does this person have the right approval? The next thing you also want to ask basically is that, is this project sitting where it ought to? Because you see, when you're buying properties or erecting structures in Lagos, there's a master plan that must be totally understood. Okay, so you want to understand that, is this property not obstructing the necessary project? Is it not obstructing the drainage? Is it not in the middle of a future bridge or all that project that may come in? So you want to understand that. Then the next thing is that, let's talk about the process of the procedures that you must take if you don't want your buildings to be demolished. The very first thing you want to understand is that when you have been given approvals, or when a developer is seeking approvals, we need to understand that Lagos State government, more importantly, the Ministry of Environment, don't joke with setbacks. Now, you also need to understand that setback differs. Now, the kind of setback that the Ministry of Environment, the Land Bureau, and every other government parastatals will give differs on the location. There are some places whereby their setback is 25 kilometers away from the road. There are instances where it is even longer. Most cases, in where government still have the intention, okay, to do what? To do other projects like a road expansion and every other thing. Sometimes, now, we've seen from the recent development in Lagos that there have been cases of rail being constructed across Lagos, so there might be future rail. So you want to do that. So you want to confirm if the normal setback has been approved. Now, for instance, if you're buying a property in Osborn, Ikoyi, okay, now the very first thing is that you need to understand that some Osborn in Ikoyi and other places of Ikoyi has what we call a federal C of O. We have federal C of O, we have Lagos State C of O. Now, because of the fact that Osborn and some part of Ikota has a federal C of O, then there's a need for that developer to convert, okay, the setback from federal C of O setback to Lagos State C of O setback. That means that the setback are not the same. So government officials expect, more importantly, those in the Lagos State Building Management Control, and I'll still get to there, expect you to follow that thing. So you need to understand that the setbacks are very important. Then the next thing you also want to put into consideration is that you also need to understand the height and the story buildings that government is approving for that region. Now, government don't approve the same building height for every region. So there's a required number of stories that you can build on each location. There are some locations that will tell you can't go beyond 2 stories. There are some locations that will tell you, okay, fine, 1 story is okay. There are some locations that will tell you the approved building plan for this area is maybe 2 bedroom apartment and the like. So you want to also ensure that you are following the rules. Okay. Now, the next thing that you also need to do before you build basically is that you also need to take your structural drawings, your tax certificates, your engineer certification. Okay, government will also require it so that even after, okay, the approval has been given, just know that government will not just sit at their office and say, we have given them approval, let them do what they like. No, it doesn't end there. Not more importantly, with the Lagos State government. So they will constantly come to ensure that the engineer who is certified is the one handling. So they want to do that. So you want to ensure that your engineers are building in conformity to the approval that has been given by Lagos State government. There have been instances whereby, of course, you know what happened in Ikoyi, where government said build 10 floors and the person went ahead and did 15 floors. What was the outcome? Building collapse and a whole lot of people died, including the owner. So there have been instances whereby so in the presence of you building and you don't want to incur, government wrath, you don't want to incur demolition, you must ensure that your engineers are building in conformity to the approval given. That is very, very important. Now, during your foundation, after an approval has been given, now you will now go to another agencies of government called sorry, the Lagos State Building Management Control, LABSCA. Now it is LABSCA, okay, that will come to your site before building is done. Before you can enter your site, you will get an authorization from LABSCA that everything on site has been vetted and you can go, okay, online. Of course, I said online. You can go to your site and start building. Now, in most cases, people don't wait for LABSCA to give that approval, okay, before they start building. And that is why we had several cases of many projects being sealed, more importantly on the highland. Okay, so LABSCA must give you the authorization. And what did they do before they give you the authorization? Is that the very first thing they do is that they will inspect your site. They will inspect your site. They will see if you are observing the necessary safety parameters. And what are those things that LABSCA will look out for? The very first thing is that they will check the safety of the place. They will check if your workers are putting on the necessary safety jacket. They will also check your what we call a monster point. Okay, a monster point has to be done. Okay, it is after all these things have been checked, okay, and they notice that you're following, okay, the following the required building, approval and the safety guidelines. This is where, okay, that you can be assured that they won't give you issues. So it is when all these things have been done, your monster points, safety regulations, your storehouse, all these things are done and the necessary safety precautions are being put in. That is when LABSCA can give you approval. Okay, you can enter site. And this is after approval has been given. So they give building approval, the LABSCA will also give an authorization to go into your site and start working. Now the next procedures that must be followed is that when you are constructing your foundation, more importantly for those who are doing a pile foundation, what happens basically is that the moment you are doing your site, there's what we call integrity tests. Now the integrity test is done at different intervals. The very first thing is that if your pile is going 30 meters to the front, to the ground, they will do what we call an integrity test to find out if that pile foundation, if that depth has been reached, if the materials have not been compromised. Okay, so by the time they done and they find out that your piling, okay, has passed through the necessary integrity test, an approval, a document will be given you to say, okay, fine, the piles are okay. In some cases where your piles are not okay, they give recommendations and they ask you to do the necessary corrections to ensure, okay. Now after they've done that, they will give an approval to go and do your pile cap. Now once your pile cap has been done, they will still come back again to check the pile cap to see if the pile you have done can effectively carry the story buildings that you are putting on that foundation. And when they have done that again, an authorization will be given for you to continue. Now these are the procedures. Now a lot of people are shouting government are demolishing properties, but you need to understand that when you are doing things in Lagos State, there are some procedures that must be adequately adhered to. You have to follow them. This is regardless of the fact that no one is victimizing you. The more you do that, now the reason is that on the island, many people are building at different intervals. You must understand that the island developer wants to build, sell immediately, and of course move to the next project. And this is why many of them don't follow these procedures I just outlined. These are the necessary procedures that government require from you before you build. And this is why we always have problems. And this is why we have more demolitions, because most of the people building did not follow some of the things I've outlined. Now, there have been cases of, excuse me, there have been cases of somebody saying that, of course, I know my way, I can pay my way through. But what if administration changes and the next person coming in is insisting on the right thing to be done? How many people do you want to bribe? And that's what, so in most cases, most of these highland developers build while they are expecting their approval. LASCA has not come to check, town planning has not come to check. All those things, some approval are still being studied, and that's why sometimes a whole lot of them don't follow the right procedures. So real estate investors, these are the procedures. Now if as an investor you can follow these procedures, even if government plans to demolish 10,000 buildings, in as much as fact they have followed the normal procedures, it will not come near you. You will not be affected. So these are some of the things that you need to do. These are some of the procedures. These are some of the moment you can do that, nobody is going to disturb you. Now the reason why I'm saying this basically is that there have been cases of demolitions, and the ones you get to see are the ones that is posted online. Demolitions are happening at different intervals in different places. So it is sometimes it becomes extremely difficult for all the cases of demolitions to be reported. So most of them are not even coming online because in some places happening at the remote places. And this is why you need to understand that in as much as fact that some real estate developers that are in so much in a hurry to sell, if they don't follow these procedures, they will incur different demolitions. As I'm talking to you right now, demolition is going on in Orchid, Lekki, Lagos. Government have marked hospitals, they've marked schools, they've marked hotels. And what did they say? They said there's a road, alternative road, connecting that Orchid, leading to Aja and to other parts of the highland. So a lot of structures will go down. You see that bad area is in. More importantly, those buildings very close to those places, that place will be worse. So a lot of structures will go down. So should this scare you from investing in property? Not with us. We understand these parameters, and that's why sometimes we come online to explain that as your real estate consultant, we know the rules, we understand the regulations, so your investment with us is safe. We are not sentimental. If a place is not good for investing, we will tell you. This is why you need, an able hand like us who understand these procedures, who understand the parameters to guide you. So this is where I'm going to draw the curtain of today's episode of Property Matters. I hope you've been able to find value. And of course, do well to subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you in my next video. God bless you. Bye.